Am I the a-hole for not letting my fiancé's friend come to the wedding? My fiancé and I were planning our wedding, and he passed over his guest list, and a name stuck out to me. It was my middle school and high school bully. He threw spitballs at me and put a rotting food in my desk, so all the other kids would think it was me. He also had a shellfish allergy, and could be around shellfish but not eat it. So he knew I heated up shellfish in the microwave, and would stand in front of me not letting me get to the microwave telling me I was making him sick, and then get all his friends to harass me. Even when I wasn't bringing shellfish, he would tell me I had a fishy smell to me, and even once called it a dirty Chinese smell. He also made a slanted eyes racist joke in front of me regularly. I told my fiancé this and made it clear there's no way I'm letting this guy come, and he defended him basically saying everyone was an a-hole in high school and we were adults now, so I should forgive and forget. His friend was apparently a family friend's son, so if he wasn't coming, neither were they. He then, without telling me, brought his guy to meet me one day, and he apologized, claiming he didn't remember anything, but apologized for anything he did to me. I told him to buzz off and to get off my lawn. My fiancé is furious with me for being rude to his friend, and we had a screaming fight about it where he said he wasn't taking his friend off the list, and I told him he can get married to him instead. Now for the top comments. Info: why are you getting married to this guy? I'm having a hard time remembering. Why instead of not allowing the friend to attend a wedding, you don't attend yourself? Maybe your fiancé can get married to your friend. The I don't remember part got me. Invite him, then serve shellfish. Yeah, then Obi can not remember he has a shellfish allergy. Why is this guy so important to your fiancé? Please ask your fiancé this. He is the son of a family friend who babysat him sometimes as a child. That's the reason. He really wants his old babysitter and family friend to be there, and she will only come if they invite her whole family. I don't want her there either, because the principal talked to her often about her son's activities and she never did anything about it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my wife it would be controlling and inappropriate for her to try and change how my family does Christmas? My wife and I rotate who we spend Christmas with, so one year her family and one year mine. I don't love doing it with her family. And she isn't a big fan of my mother. Please don't tell us to do it as a nuclear family. We both hate that idea. Our families are pretty different. Her family is much more about the kids. Even the dinner is tailored more to what kids like. Bland in my opinion, but I would never say that. The kids each get 1,000 gifts and spend Christmas running around my mother-in-law's house, making a huge ruckus. Christmas with my family is amazing food, though we usually have to pack our toddler her own meal. A more relaxed atmosphere, and my mom doesn't get any of her grandkids gifts. I don't know her exact reasoning. She says that only the nuclear families should buy gifts, though she does get me and my two sisters something, but gives it to us about a week in advance. My kids don't know that she does that. My mom encourages the kids to play in another room so the adults can talk, but me and my wife put our foot down because these kids are just too young. To be clear, we exchanged gifts at home before going, but my wife just finds it really weird that no one in the family buys for other people's kids. It has nothing to do with my mom being frugal or anti-materialism. My mom and stepdad go all out for each other. Anyway, it is our year to do Christmas with my side, and my wife came to me and proposed suggesting to the family that we only buy for kids and make Christmas more kid-friendly. I told her she really has no right to tell my mom how to spend her money, and that would not go over well with my very child-free sister. Other sister has kids as well. She said she feels that Christmas is supposed to be this magical time for the kids, and my mom and stepdad and child-free sister and brother-in-law have their anniversaries, birthdays, and Valentines to spoil each other. She said she just really hates how much Christmas is about the adults in my family, and it makes her sad. I said her points are totally valid, but it would be controlling and inappropriate to try and change how my family has always done things, and she would definitely offend my mom. She said I'm putting my mom's feelings ahead of hers and she just wants to bring it up, and she doesn't like that I used the word controlling. I am definitely a bigger fan of your wife's idea of how Christmas should be spent than your family's, but house traditions are house traditions. It just sounds boring as hell for those kids, and they'll always be comparing the fun side of the family to the boring old side, but they aren't being mistreated or anything. Not an a-hole for doing things different, though I'm not inclined to call your wife an a-hole for making the suggestion. If she made it a demand, then she'd be an a-hole. Agree, it's a no a-hole situation. The wife is a member of the family now and has the right to offer ideas and suggestions. Opie, as an original member of that family, can and should communicate with his wife about whether her suggestions are a good fit for his side. Nobody did anything wrong here. Soft, everyone sucks here, except your wife. Not centering Christmas 100% around the children is one thing, but your family sounds like it doesn't include the children at all. Send them to another room? No presents? And they don't even get a single special holiday meal. How hard is it to make a mac and cheese dish? Put an orange, some chocolate, and a book in a stocking, and set up a game, arts, and crafts activity or a movie for the kids? Honestly, if I was your wife, I wouldn't bother going to your family's Christmas. Your wife and child are a part of your family too, and if they aren't included in the celebration, then Christmas and family don't sound like they go together in your family. Your family does things a certain way. Your wife doesn't like it and suggested a change, which is reasonable. She's part of the family too. You aren't an a-hole for telling her it won't go over well, and your family doesn't have to change, but making her feel bad about a reasonable request is an a-hole move. I think now you have children, there is nothing wrong with suggesting some minor changes to Christmas. Traditions change as families change. I think there will come a point where one of the children tells grandma how boring her Christmas is, and that will not be fun. Everyone sucks here. She has been told that she is boring. I was pretty mortified, but she didn't seem to care. We had a talk with my daughter about how it is okay to think those things, but sometimes saying something hurts people's feelings. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for going to my parents' house and leaving my fiancé at home after she said she wanted to bring her own food to Thanksgiving? Me and my fiancé, both 20s, have been together for 3 years and had a long-distance relationship. This is supposedly her first Thanksgiving with my family. My mom invited us to attend Thanksgiving dinner, and when I told my fiancé about the invitation, she asked about what was prepared for dinner. And I said the traditional dishes every home prepares, and she made a face and said she'll accept the invitation and go, but will bring her own cooked food with her. I was shocked to ask why, because as far as I know, she's not allergic nor vegan, and she hasn't even tried my mom's cooking. She said that it's just her choice, and wanted to eat something else to add new flavor for Thanksgiving, since she was always forced to eat the same old traditional meals every year by her family. I was mad. I told her it'd be disrespectful of her as a first-time guest at our family's Thanksgiving, but she said it was better than telling my mom to cook other dishes specifically for her. I told her no, she cannot bring food with her, and if she insists, then she needs to stay home but not come with me, because I'm not about to let her fed my mom's cooking. She got all dramatic, almost crying, saying I was being controlling and that I should just let her come and bring her own food, instead of overreacting like that. I stood my ground and she kept saying she wanted to bring food, and that she wasn't willing to go hungry to please my mom. I had it at this point, and got ready to go over to my parents who live hours away. I got in the car with my stuff and left her behind crying, then started calling me saying I should not have went and left her alone at home, and that I was wrong for making this my hill to die on, and causing her to miss my mom's invite. I'm at my parents' house right now. I made up some excuse as to why my fiancé didn't come, but I'm still bothered by what happened, especially when she keeps guilting me for leaving her behind, calling me selfish jerk, and whatnot. Edited to add, oh yeah, she was actually planning on bringing an entire cooked meal. So, I wasn't just talking about some side dishes to share with the family. That would have been a different story. It would have been perfectly acceptable, gracious even, for her to bring a side dish or two, so long as you cleared that with your mom ahead of time. But to pre-cook and bring her whole meal and not eat your mother's food at all is rude. There's something more going on here than she's sharing with you. I wish that she'd bring some side dishes or desserts, but no, she wanted to bring cooked food just for herself. This stuff is highly disrespectful to my family. Homegirl sounds really whiny, toxic, and manipulative. Might want to rethink who you spend the rest of your life with. Just saying. Not day home, but don't expect that you'll save this relationship. What the heck is your fiancé thinking? She has no dietary restrictions, but feels that she needs to impose her vision on a meal she's invited to? This feels like a power play. This feels like a test to force you to choose her over your family. Nope, right the heck out of that. You passed the test, by the way. She is the one who failed you. She's the selfish one. Like there is some serious Darvo stuff here. Not day home. This isn't her last meal on Earth, or the only food she'll be able to eat for the rest of her life. This is one meal that someone is generously making to share with loved ones. If you're not a huge fan, you eat a minimal amount and then have a big dessert. Stop at Burger King on the way home. Jam a PB&J in your coat's pocket to eat in the car. Next story. Am I the a-hole for sending my boyfriend's brother home? I, 28 female, work for my parents. Maybe you can see where this is going. We live in a little town in the middle of nowhere. My parents run a little mom-and-pop grocery shop that everyone loves. It is a family-owned store, and I am a manager here. We don't usually have issues. My boyfriend's Ryan, 27 male, little brother, 22 male, recently moved in with him due to disputes between him and his parents. Kane has always been rowdy, so I think his parents just got fed up with his behavior, but I really don't know. Ryan told him he could stay with him, but he needed to get a job because there was no way he could provide for both of them on a salary. Well, none of the places hiring the area wanted Kane. At least he claims he applied and just never got calls back. So, Ryan asked me to swing a job for him here. I didn't like the idea, but we hired Kane on 4 months ago. In that time, I've caught Kane napping in the employee lounge on his break, but an hour longer than allotted. I caught him vaping in the cooler, and multiple times I found him standing around talking to friends about the work he was meant to be doing without actually doing it. The final straw was 4 days ago. Kane clocked in, found me, and asked me what he should do. I told him his job for the day. He said okay and disappeared. 30 minutes later, I saw him nowhere in his area. I went to the employee lounge and saw him sitting at the table eating and on his phone. I asked him what he was doing. He said eating. I asked him if he carted out for break. He rolled his eyes at me and said, "No, I was just grabbing a bite to eat quick." I asked him how long he was back here for, and he said, "I don't know, I just bought it and came back." I told him to let me see his receipt, and sure enough, it was stamped for about 5 minutes after he clocked in. I said, "Kane, we needed you on the floor." He mocked me. "Kane, we need you on the floor." I was really not in the mood for it, so I asked him how badly he needed this job. He said, "Well, if I'm not working, I can stay with Ryan. Duh." I said, "Exactly. Kane, go home. You're not needed today, and don't come in tomorrow." He laughed at me like I was joking until he noticed I wasn't moving, wasn't smiling, wasn't laughing. Then he just said no. And I told him that either he leaves right now or he can continue sitting there without getting paid, because I was done letting him fool around. A few more words exchanged, and then he went home. After my shift, I got a call from my Ryan snapping at me for sending Kane home. I told him I was tired of letting his brother get away with doing whatever just because of who he is. Ryan told me that I was being an a-hole because I know he can't support him and his brother, and that there was no way he could send Kane back home because their parents wouldn't take him. I told him I'm not going to let my parents pay someone for goofing off constantly, and this is where we still are today. Added to clarify some common questions. Ryan was made aware of the things Kane did under my employment, and usually right as they happened, so it's not like he didn't know Kane was on thin ice. Kane was fired, yes. Kane was reprimanded / talked to every time I caught him doing something he shouldn't have been doing. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole. Maybe Kane will have a nice encouraging pep talk with his brother tonight. You absolutely did nothing wrong here. I agree, and would let boyfriend know to stay the hell out of it or he will be supporting a deadbeat brother, and he won't have a girlfriend. This is more than a Kane issue. This is also a Ryan issue. Ryan has enabled his brother and constantly taking his side regardless of knowing his brother's penchant for being rowdy. Doesn't even take into consideration how his brother is unprofessional. Opie's trying to run a business, not a daycare. Considering his behavior during work and attitude, I'd say it was fair for you to send him home. Just because he's your boyfriend's brother doesn't mean he doesn't have to work or make you obligated to take care of him. He was lucky that he even got a job at yours in the first place, and he completely blew it. That's on him, not you. I mean, Opie's literally the daughter of the owners. If she's expected to work hard and not slag off, why does Kane think he can expect some special treatment for being the brother of Opie's boyfriend? Kane isn't your problem. At 22, he should start acting like an adult. No one should be taking care of him. Yeah, I even forgot that Kane was 22 and I was reading the rest of the story. Dude sounds like a 14 to 16-year-old. Now for the last story. Would I be the a-hole for eating with my friend rather than my family for Thanksgiving? Every Thanksgiving, my parents usually invite my aunts and uncles and their friends for the dinner. My siblings 16, 10, 13, and I 18 are never allowed to eat with the grown-ups. We'd have to stay in our rooms until the grown-ups either leave or go to sleep if they're staying over. We'd get the leftovers, and to be honest, it's kind of boring. One of my friends from high school's parents are throwing a Thanksgiving dinner. I told my friend about how Thanksgiving was at my house, so she invited me to eat with her family. At first, I wasn't sure because I didn't want to be rude and intrude, but her mom messaged me last night and basically said I'm more than welcome to come. It's quite last minute and I doubt anything is going to change. One of my aunts are coming in an hour and my mom's already telling us to stay upstairs. Would I be the a-hole for celebrating Thanksgiving with my friend? You get the leftovers? Not an a-hole and your family's a massive red flag. That is so messed up. And they aren't even allowed to leave their rooms until everyone leaves. Not celebrating Thanksgiving would be an improvement for these kids. What? Not an a-hole. In any way, shape, or form. I'm not American, so we obviously don't celebrate Thanksgiving here. But from what I know about Thanksgiving, your family gathers to enjoy each other's company and catch up with family you maybe don't see that often. If your parents effectively tell you you're not allowed to participate at all and have to starve in your room until the grown-ups have eaten and gone to bed, it sounds to me you'd be better off going somewhere you were actually more than welcome. I can see how your parents would be upset with you going somewhere else for Thanksgiving, but to be honest, they brought this on themselves. But if you don't mind me asking, is there any particular reason why the children aren't allowed to join the celebration? I just feel we're missing some background here. And if you don't want to get into it, don't feel compelled to answer. Not gonna lie, the two younger ones are pretty loud, so my mom wants me to watch them. I guess the 13-year-old has to watch as well. That's my guess. Update. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to be involved in my ex's kid's life? Original post. I, male 35, was dating Elena, female 33, for 2 years when I found out she was cheating on me with one of the dads from her son's hockey practice. Elena has a 9-year-old son. After finding out, I broke up with her and asked her to move out. Eventually, she moved out. A week later, she showed up at my door asking if I could watch her son because she couldn't find anyone else. I thought it was a one-time thing, so I agreed. We played video games, and I cooked him dinner. Then she texted me, thanking me and saying her son missed me so much, and that it was great for him to hang out. Now, she keeps dropping him off. Last time, I told her I couldn't be her babysitter. I want a clean break and a fresh start. She called me heartless and mean, saying I'm the only dad her son knows. He never called me dad, nor did I expect him to. She keeps guilt-tripping me, accusing me of abandoning her child and punishing him because I'm a petty, sad man. Am I the a-hole here? Is it wrong to ghost her and her kid? Edit to add, thanks with her affair partner didn't work out because he was married and his wife found out. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. You gonna babysit forever while she's getting buck shots in her net? She says my relationship with her kid should be different. I was his father figure, so it shouldn't be affected by my resentment toward her. Not the a-hole. The only thing tying you to this kid is his mother, who cheated on you. Why are you letting her do this to you? You don't owe her or her kid anything. You're a father figure after 2 years? Come on, she's using you and guilting you about it. Guilt only works if you let it. Her and her kid aren't your problem. Let the guy she cheated on you with watch her kid. Not the a-hole. It was a 2-year relationship, and her son is 9. So you're probably not a paternal figure, but more like a cool grown-up friend. She cheated on you. She's seeing the consequences of her actions. She's the one punishing her son, not you. How do you know that every time she dropped her son off at your place, it wasn't to spend time with a man? I honestly never saw myself as a father figure either. They moved in with me 6 months before the breakup. I took her son to his appointments and events a few times. Maybe that's why she got the idea? I have the feeling she used you from the beginning. You don't have to be part of her son's life. If you were together for 8 years, okay, you might be his paternal figure. But in this situation, it's just an excuse for her to use you. In what universe would you be the a-hole? She says I'm abandoning her kid. I'm punishing her kid because we broke up. I'm petty for not wanting to be the father figure because her kid's bio dad is unknown. She really gets around, doesn't she? She cheated on you and she doesn't even know the father of her kid. What an absolute piece of work. I don't know about that. She said the dad was some guy she met in a bar one night when she was younger. She said she didn't like talking about her past. Now for the update. I texted her and said, I'm done with you. I can't watch your kid anymore. Bye forever. And then I blocked her. An hour later, I started getting messages from people asking, why don't you leave this woman alone? You stalker creep. I was shocked. What the hell? Apparently, she told everyone that I'm stalking her, begging her to get back together and using her kid to get close to her. I responded to anyone messaging me by sending them a screenshot of my actual text. I'm done justifying myself. This woman is insane. What was I thinking? Trying to get back into the dating scene after my wife's tragic passing? For 6 years, I was single, and life was peaceful. I'm gonna contact my therapist again. I need him more than ever now after this disastrous experience. Not the a-hole. Your ex is a total drama queen. Good for you for blocking her and setting boundaries. Don't let her mess with your head. She is manipulative and toxic, twisting the narrative to make herself look like the victim. Make a public post and set the record straight. This can do more damage if you remain silent, and if anyone contacts you, just reply with screenshots. Her making up lies about OP is a red flag the size of a skyscraper. Cut her off, but keep the screenshots in case things escalate more. Next story. Am I the a-hole for walking out of my dad's birthday dinner after being ambushed by my stepmom? I, 25 female, have always had a complicated relationship with my dad and his wife, my stepmom. My parents divorced when I was 8, and my dad remarried shortly after. His new wife brought 2 kids into the marriage, and they later had 2 more together. So, I have 4 half-siblings and 2 step-siblings, all younger than me. Growing up, I always felt like the odd one out. My dad's focus was on his new family, and while I was never outright excluded, I always felt like an afterthought. My mom raised me and I visited my dad every other weekend, but as I got older, the visits became less frequent. I've made an effort to keep the peace over the years for the sake of my dad. I visit for holidays, attend family events, and try to bond with my half-siblings. But my stepmom and I have never really gotten along. She is always criticizing me, my career, my clothes, even my decision to stay single for now. My dad usually stays out of it, saying he doesn't want to take sides. Last week was my dad's 50th birthday, and my stepmom organized a big dinner at a fancy restaurant. I showed up with a gift and was genuinely excited to celebrate him. Things were fine until dessert. That's when my stepmom stood up and said, since we're all here, it's the perfect time to address some issues as a family. I immediately felt uneasy. She launched into a speech about how I've been distant and don't do enough to blend into the family. She brought up things like how I don't call her on Mother's Day or babysit my half-siblings when they need help. She even mentioned that I missed a family barbecue last month, which I had already explained was due to work. Then my dad chimed in. He said he agreed with her and that it was time for me to make more of an effort to be part of the family. He added that I should apologize to my stepmom for being cold toward her. I was stunned. This wasn't a birthday dinner, it was an ambush. I asked if anyone else felt this way, and my stepmom's parents, who were also there, chimed in, saying they'd always thought I was too independent and didn't value family enough. At that point, I had enough. I stood up and said, if this is what you invited me here for, I'm leaving. My dad tried to stop me, saying I was being dramatic, but I walked out. I went home, turned off my phone, and cried. Since then, my stepmom has been blowing up my phone, calling me selfish and ungrateful. My dad texted me saying he was disappointed in how I handled things and that I should have stayed to talk it out. Even my mom, who I told about the situation, said I could have stayed to keep the peace. I feel like I was ambushed and humiliated in front of everyone. Am I the a-hole for walking out instead of staying and addressing the issues? First things first, you're not the a-hole. Go ahead and block your stepmom. You don't have to watch your younger siblings, no matter the reason, whether it's work-related or not. What her parents think shouldn't matter, nor does the fact that you don't call her on Mother's Day. What I've learned about the whole keep the peace idea is that it usually means you need to be a doormat for others while putting your peace to the side. Exactly. OP is not a free babysitter and definitely doesn't owe her stepmom anything. They ambushed OP. Like, who even does that at a birthday dinner? It was all about her. You don't call me on Mother's Day. You don't babysit my kids for me. And at a birthday dinner in a fancy restaurant, no less. That should pretty much seal the deal on where this relationship is going. Sorry, OP. Not the a-hole. This was what, 6 or 7 people against 1? How is that supposed to be any sort of conversation where your side would be heard? It seems more like an intervention where your feelings are disregarded. There was no point in staying. The outcome was already predetermined. Talk to your dad and set boundaries for the relationship you want with him. If he isn't agreeable, then go no contact. By the way, few people acknowledge how emotionally costly it is to keep the peace. It's almost always a one-sided investment with little to no return. And the aggressor is never asked to keep the peace. They always ask the quieter person to appease the bully. No one ever tells the loud one to stand down. No, that sounds absolutely horrifying, traumatic, and humiliating. I'm so sorry they did that to you. It was a completely inappropriate way to address their feelings. I really hope you have access to mental health care and can talk to a counselor or a therapist to help you through this. Next story. Am I the a-hole for asking my fiancé to cut 200 people from his guest list? I, 31 female, and my fiancé, 32 male, recently got engaged. We have started making our guest list as part of our wedding planning. My fiancé is a very social guy. He's been in the restaurant industry for 10 plus years and has made a lot of friends and business connections. On the other hand, you have me. I have a very small but close group of friends. I get overstimulated easily and have to prepare for big group interactions. I usually can only last a few hours before I need to wander off and recharge a little. We made our first pass at the guest list. I have about 45 to 50 people on my list. This includes mutual friends and their plus ones. These are the people I can't see this day happening without. He made his list and has close to 400 people on it. This includes people he's met through business and wants to essentially shake hands and kiss babies with. I forgot to mention he is opening his own business soon. He said he will take another pass at the list and cut it down so we have 400 in total. The thought of this makes me physically ill. I want to be supportive and invite everyone he views as important to him, but there are a significant number of people on the list whom I have never even met. Some I haven't even heard of before seeing this list. For context, we've been together for 2.5 years. I also saw the names, and when I asked him who they were, he said, well, I was invited to their wedding 3+ years ago. Some people he only exchanges happy birthday with every year, and he says they need to be at the wedding. Again, I want to be supportive, but I have a hard time justifying paying $250+ per person for people I have never met, and whom he only says happy birthday to. I've tried explaining this to him, but I know we are both passionate people, and sometimes I have a hard time expressing how things make me feel. I don't want to sound like I don't care about his friends, but to me, some of his reasons for inviting people just seem childish or irrelevant. Ideally, I would like a wedding with 150 people. He wants closer to 500. I think I could handle 250 without having a full panic attack or meltdown. I don't want to sound like a diva, but the thought of being around 200+ people I've never met and being the center of attention makes me want to crawl into a corner and hide. The last time I brought it up, he got really defensive and said I was making him feel like I don't care about the people who are important to him. I don't think that's the case. But am I the a-hole for wanting him to cut down from 400 people to 200? Now for the comments. Was the $250 per person a typo? That is way too much unless you come from royalty. Not the a-hole. He should understand that a wedding of that size will overwhelm you. Info: I married off my daughter 16 years ago. The cost was, if I remember correctly, $40 per plate, $1,000 for the rental of the hall, a country club, and she wanted a fancy cake that, if I recall correctly, was $400. We had 150 to 200 people, plus the bar tab. This was in southern Wisconsin, a medium-sized city. With the cost of food, bar, staff, venue, and rental equipment in today's market, $250 is about average per plate. The bigger the guest count, the more expensive the venue, due to the size and number of rooms needed to rent. Let him know that all these people he rarely sees are going to see this invite as gift grab and be turned off by it. Who is he trying to impress? Not the a-hole. He's treating your wedding as a network opportunity. To him, it's a soft lunch for his business with no regard for your feelings. I would be surprised if even half of the guests show up. I wouldn't attend someone's wedding if I hadn't seen them in 3 years. Same. I wouldn't go to a wedding where I don't know anyone or hardly know anyone. I don't like sitting through the ceremony and the dragged-out speeches, let alone covering the cost of presents/monetary gifts, hotel, travel, etc. Last story. Am I the a-hole for calling my sister ungrateful after she said I didn't do enough for her daughter? I, 38 female, and my sister, 37 female, have 3 kids, 10 male, 10 female, and 5 male. Her 10-year-old twins are in 5th grade. Her son, Rhodes, and her daughter, Lydia, are both going to middle school next year. My sister wanted them to attend a private middle school about 30 minutes away from us. It's a selective school, and incoming students need to take a test to be admitted. Rhodes and Lydia took the test a few weeks ago and just got their results back. Rhodes and Lydia have always had a massive academic achievement gap. I'm a teacher and haven't seen a gap this wide between siblings in my career. Rhodes can read, write, and do math several grades above the 5th grade level. My sister asked me to tutor both Rhodes and Lydia when they started kindergarten, and I've tutored them for free since then. Rhodes has always been naturally intelligent. School comes easy to him, and he puts in far less effort than Lydia or even most kids. I've had to bribe him with candy to do homework he can complete in 5 minutes because he'd rather be shooting hoops with his friends. Basketball is another thing that just comes naturally to him. Lydia, on the other hand, does not play sports. Lydia is several grades behind where she's supposed to be. My sister has had her and Rose tested for ADHD, autism, and other conditions, but nothing has come up positive. For some reason, no matter how hard Lydia tries, she struggles. She struggles with basic arithmetic and reading. To make matters worse, we can't force children to be held back, and my sister has refused to hold Lydia back, even though it's been recommended multiple times over the years. To give you an example of how stark the difference between the 2 kids is, for their reading logs, Rhodes is reading a nearly 500-page book on the history of college sports and seems to understand it well. Lydia, meanwhile, reads picture books meant for kindergarten and 1st grade. None of my colleagues at work have seen anything like this, such a stark difference between siblings, especially twins, even if they are fraternal. No surprise here, Rhodes got into the middle school but Lydia did not. My sister got angry at me when she found out, saying I didn't do enough for Lydia. I told her she was ungrateful and blamed her for passing Lydia on when she wasn't ready. She said I should have faith in Lydia and not agreed with teachers who have a vendetta against her that she should be held back. I told her that Rhodes is just naturally smarter and that she needs to accept it. She got mad at me and is now not answering my texts. Am I the a-hole? The tests don't lie. There's no reason why they can't go to different schools. You want to challenge Rhodes and allow him to excel, and you want to ensure Lydia has all the support she needs to do well. Since you were tutoring both of them, I'm just wondering how much farther behind Lydia would be if you hadn't been tutoring her. Absolutely. I can't help but wonder if all Lydia hears from her mother is how smart Rhodes is and how dumb she is. The best thing for Lydia would be to hold her back a grade before she gets to middle school. My sister wanted to hold my niece back a year in grade school, but the school refused. She happened to move to a different school system that summer, and when she enrolled my niece, she put her in the same grade she has just completed. That made a world of difference for her. OP, I assume that Lydia has been checked for dyslexia and other reading disorders, had her eyes examined, etc. I feel bad for Lydia having to compete in her mother's eyes with her much smarter brother. I hope things can turn around for her, not the a-hole. Honestly, it sounds like the mom is blaming teachers and her sister for her daughter not being successful in school. I don't think she berates her daughter. If anything, she's in denial about her abilities.